Okay, so I would like to talk a little bit, bring you up to date and refresh your memory, as many of you, about how Madison School came to be. Um, Back in 25 years ago, a long time ago, enrollment, we'd already closed a couple of schools in Lombard, and we got to the point then where at the south end of town, Westlake, which had been rented out for a few years to the Park District, uh, we enlarged, remodeled, and did a big enlargement of Westlake. So now Westlake could handle grades 6, 7, and 8, a true middle school into that movement, which was the thing to do in those days, away from the junior high name. So it was decided then to do that. So Lombard Junior High, that was here at 150 West Madison, moved to Westlake. That left this building open here at 150. And as they looked around, and it seemed to make sense to, with Green Valley School being a smaller school and a neighborhood school, and Peter Hoy over on Finley Road being a small school, to close those schools and move them into this building and make one larger elementary school. I was principal of both of those schools at that time, those 2 years, in the early 90s. And so it was a matter of closing those schools, getting the word out. Everybody, it seemed to make sense to a lot of people, students, parents, that there'd be better opportunities in a larger school. When I say better opportunities, I mean in terms of teaming or grouping kids, in terms of meeting their educational individual needs, be it on the remedial end or be it on the enrichment part of it. So that is what happened. So in 92, things were moved over here. Over that summer, there was a little bit of remodeling, not much. And by the way, during the last few months of when there was still Green Valley and Peter Hoy, the teachers were really great teachers, nice kids, good supportive parents, and they got the kids ready. A lot of the kids knew about the junior high, about this building already, because they maybe had been to concerts, or older brothers and sisters had been here. They'd been in and out, so it wasn't like a strange thing. They were very accepting of the move, and there was little, as I remember it, very little resistance, if any, that I fielded in terms of the move. The teachers in those last few months before the move with the kids worked with them in terms of coming up with a name for the school, coming up with a mascot and school colors. So the kids had some involvement there and seemed to be ready to go. And that's exactly what happened. So in the fall, the 1st of September then in 92, here we are in now the Madison School. And I was then principal here for 4 years. And in 96, I retired after 40 years in the district. So that was time for me to step out, and I'm very proud of Madison School and how it went and how we did. And we had a great bunch of teachers, and parents were wonderful. So that's it.
That is great. Yeah.
I am Cindy Segoy, and I was the second principal at Madison School from 1996 through 2008, and for 12 years totally enjoyed everything that Madison offered each and every one of us. I was thinking, as I'm going down memory lane at Madison in over 10 years, there's so many things that came to mind. So just a snapshot about many of them. The talent show, looping, multi-age classrooms, reading nights, heritage night, the literacy closet, book reads during the lunchtime. And how about when we did Tai Chi during the lunchtime over at the admin center? Garden club, school-wide buddy program, Madison ambassadors, bass in the classroom, climbing wall, character counts, goal setting, data collection. That was my favorite. Staff overnights at Brookfield Zoo and the Field Museum, reading conference in Springfield. How about the summer library bus? And then when that grant ran out, our library opened up in the summer for the kids. And then the PTA, what they put on annually. Fun fair, complete with those basket raffles. And then I would hear the side stories about how much fun they had putting those baskets together. How about the assemblies, field trips, list goes on and on. And through all of that, lots of meetings, right? And I know that was a change when I first came to Madison, but we did know how to plan well, didn't we? But you know what? I guess I would think about two highlights that come to mind. One was reading in the classrooms. When EC and kindergarten readiness were with us in the building, I was in their rooms occasionally, but definitely kindergarten through fifth grades, 2-3 times a year, every year for 10 years. That's how I got to know our 500 and some students. Between that and reading every single report card, every quarter, and then thank goodness we went to semesters every semester. Something else that comes to mind, and I really like this one, it has to do with teachers emerging as leaders. That was just a favorite of mine. And in those positions, changes happened, not just in our building, but in the district. Remember the writing committee? And that came out of a goal. We would plan goals every year, come up with action plans, implement, study results, you know the routine. But in one of those, the writing committee came up and developed the writing curriculum that we used for years. And then word got out in district-wide grade level meetings, and all of a sudden the district is adopting some of what we use. And the same went with the reading comprehension strategies. That all started with a book read over lunch hour, and then a committee got together. And I loved that. I love that empowering teachers, empowering each and every one of us to just keep on moving, looking forward, and doing different things. And then look at positions. Out of Madison came the special ed director, special ed interim director, assistant superintendent for curriculum, principal, literacy coordinators, and I'm sure many other positions since I've left. So very proud of all of that. And I guess lastly, Laura, I want to thank you and your committee in making this celebration happen. I know, even though it's January and this has taken place, end of February, I know it's a huge success. And I'm hoping for a sunny day, no sun, nothing to stop anyone and everyone from coming. And I'm also happy that you were able to figure out how to include me remotely. I miss you all, and I would have loved to have been a part of the buzz in the room, to hear all the laughter, seeing all the surprises, the expressions, the shrieks, as you reunite with each other. Keep enjoying. I can only hope that this happens again. Bye, everyone.
Madison Bulldogs, nice to talk to you all. For those that don't know me, my name is Larry Pietek. I was principal at Madison for 5 years, from 2008 until 2012. 5 wonderful years. I look back, I have great memories. What I remember is the hardworking, dedicated staff. And, we might not have always agreed as admin and as teachers and staff, but I know that everyone at that school was doing their best to meet the needs of kids. And that to me is something I'll always cherish, having worked with all of you folks. I will say that, one thing I remember, ironically, I had a meeting with my building leadership team yesterday. I'm down in Troy District, and I had to inform them that we're really going away from accelerated reader because we've used it at our building, and there's some teachers very attached to it. Well, those of you who were there may recall that in Lombard, they were trying to have our building use accelerated reader. And as you guys know, Madison is really trying to instill a love for reading and intrinsic motivation. So, we did our research and we recommended to the superintendent, Dr. Blanche, that we do not have accelerated reader, and he supported that. So it's kind of ironic that I had to deliver the opposite message to my staff, but I used Madison as an example because it really works. We really at Madison focused on getting those kids to want to read for reading's sake. I also think back to the diversity that exists in Madison and how it's celebrated, which is not always the case at all schools. I know that every single student there felt appreciated and felt they were part of the Madison family, and the parents as well. Really, the PTA parents would really go out of their way to make sure that the students who didn't have the opportunities got the different perks and got access to reading materials and those types of things that many of us take for granted in our own lives. So, I think back fondly to my time at Madison. I hope you all are doing well. I'm glad that I could share with you some memories about my experience there. I thank Laura Font for putting together this organizing this, and I wish you all the best. Thanks for listening, and have a great rest of your school year. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Danielski, and I'm a former teacher and principal at Madison School, and I was asked to reflect a little bit about Madison, and it's my pleasure. So I was asked, what are some of the things that makes Madison so special? And for me, Madison is such a special place because it was the first place in Illinois that I worked. And when I came from Madison, Wisconsin, I had the opportunity, and I worked as a fourth grade teacher with colleagues that really made work a lot of fun to come to. And I fell in love with my job and the community in District 44. I was a teacher there for 8 years. So that's really where I got my roots in Lombard. And so that's a very special memory for me. And then years later, I had the privilege of coming back to serve as the principal of Madison School for 3 years. Okay, and one of the things that is awesome is that when I left Madison to come to Hammerschmidt, not once but twice, once to be a principal at Hammerschmidt the first time, and once again to become a principal at Hammerschmidt the second time, the staff provided me with this very special rendering of Madison School, once a bulldog, always a bulldog, and it's very special for me. And I even keep this in my office here at Hammerschmidt. I also was asked, if there's a story that kind of captures what it's like to be a Madison bulldog. And one story that comes to mind in my very first year teaching, I was picking up my kids from PE class, and Deb Surdam was a teacher, and turns out my kids were not there. I'm never late, so I was confused. I got there, my kids were completely just not there, and the PE teacher said, "No, they left. They're up back to class." And so I was a little frantic, and like, okay. And she even pointed up to the clock that was way up high, and said, you're kind of late, so we sent your kids back. And so right as I was leaving the gym to go up to find my students, Cindy Cronin, the principal, was right there, and she asked me, "So Dave, can I see?" And she asked to see one of my students, and she didn't know my kids were missing, and I lost my students. And so I was like, yeah, I'll have them come right down. And I was nervous. I was like, I don't know where they are. But so I ran up to my classroom. Kids weren't there. I went to the other hallway. Kids weren't there. I was now getting pretty nervous and really confused and running around trying to find my students. I'm a first year teacher. The principal needs to see one of my kids, and I lost my entire class. I've come to find out that my dear friend, Miss Laura Font, hid my children from me. They were hiding on the stage of the Madison gym. Um, Everyone was in on the joke, including the PE teacher. She got the custodian to go way up high and change the clock to make it appear like I was late. And Mrs. Cronin, the principal, was in on it. And I laugh about it now, and it's very funny, but it's just a good memory because that's a time that it's just the spirit of Madison. We work hard, we play hard, but also, that was the beginning of something very special where it was open season from then on out. And it was the beginning of many fun times and jokes that the students and the staff played on each other, and for that year and for years to come, and really some very special memories for me. So, what are some of the memories you have about Madison? And there's many that come to mind, and some of the highlights I often think about are our partnership with Maui Learning and Maui Askadam and part and Pat Donahue. Having the DeFores with our PLC work and being a part of the Fishbowl, we had the Stanley Cup at Madison School, and it's a surprise Blackhawks Day. It was one of the highlights for sure. Our themes of banding together to rock, growing a Madison mindset, and Madison Onward all had lots of activities and fun things embedded within them. We had a redesign of the front foyer. We had fifth graders and their teachers do a Academy Awards presentation with lots of fanfare and pageantry, which was great. We had Madison Onward Day with the community and teaching us about careers. We had a resource fair in the community to provide our families with all kinds of resources for the summer. A lot of special things. We had a Veterans Day assembly with partnership in the PTA that was a very memorable acknowledgement of our families and the service to our country. And some of the staff fun we had. We had an outing to a Brewers game and a bus for the staff, and a time for us to get together. I remember a time we had a soft serve ice cream machine in the principal's office, and one of the things I'll never forget was truly the sincere emotions of leaving Madison as a teacher, a place I loved, to take on a role as an interim principal. Was a difficult time. When you grow and love a place, it was the right step, but it was a difficult time. So those emotions I'll remember forever. And then also, as I had the privilege of being a principal, once again being asked to leave, very emotional because of the connection and fondness and respect I have for all of those in the Madison community.
So what makes Madison special to me? I think what I have found at Madison School is really it's about the relationships that you establish here that makes Madison such a special place. I always talk about it with my kids, my family members, and my friends, and talking about how really I feel so blessed to be in such a place that really cares about people. I think when I think about the teachers and the enthusiasm that the teachers really have about helping kids be as successful as possible. I mean, even just the highlights of, wow, my students did just such an amazing job today. And, allowing kids just that independence to be wonderful people, to be people who can show success in many different ways inside of the classroom, or even just the friendships that they establish with each other. I think that resonates in every area of Madison School, and I think that's a constant reminder for me when I walk inside of a building that just feels really good, because you know that the people are here to really support each other and really look at kids as people, not as numbers or just students that we have to push curriculum through or anything like that. It's not just about that. It's about those relationships. So that makes this place such a really, really special place. In terms of stories that I could share that exemplify what Madison is all about, I was just talking to Tony about it's really the kids and just the funny stories that they share with you, or the funny things that they do inside of the building. I was sharing a story where the kids really notice everything about you every single day, whether it's the clothes that you wear, the way that you walk, the way that you style your hair, the things that you do, the things that you say. So I obviously wear glasses. One day I was walking down the hallway and a kindergartner stopped me in the hallway and he said to me, "Miss Vasquez, where are your glasses?" And I was looking at him and said, "Oh my goodness, that's right, I need my glasses." So, and he reprimanded me and said that I needed to wear my glasses every single day. But it's that kind of stuff that I think really makes me laugh and chuckle. And it's those kinds of things that really make my day, where it's really about the kids taking care of you. They know that you're there to take care of them. And if you come into a building, a school building, where you know that people are taking care of each other, I think obviously that's the best place that you want to be able to be in.